Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jaimini Astrology channel. In this today's video, we obviously continue with our Mandook Dasha. In today's episode, we'll focus on Lagna falling in the sign of Karka or Cancer, and we'll establish the order of Mandook Dasha for the Lagna falling in the sign of Karka, and we'll count the Mahadasha years for the Lagna falling in the sign of Karka. So straight to the point. Here is our sign of Karka. Yes, or Cancer. What do we know about this sign? This is an even sign. So we will start our Mandook Dasha from the 7th house, which falls in the sign of Makara. Yeah? And our Mandook Dasha order will be indirect, meaning that will be counting in anti-clockwise direction all the time. All Mahadashas will be counted in the anti-clockwise manner. Okay? So we will start our first Mandook Dasha from the 7th house, which is the sign of Makara. Then the frog leaps the 4 squares from the sign it resides. So the second Mahadasha after completing the Mahadasha of Makara will be Mahadasha of Tula. Yeah? The third one will be the Mahadasha of Karka itself. Yeah? And then the fourth Mahadasha in order will be the Mahadasha of Mesha. This way we will complete our first cycle, yeah, of Chara Rashis. Where our second cycle will begin. Just give me a second, okay? Our second cycle will begin from the sign of Danu. And that will be our next Mahadasha. Then after Danu, we'll have Mahadasha of Kanya. After completing Mahadasha of Kanya, we'll jump to Mahadasha of Mituna. Yeah? And then after Mituna, we'll complete the second cycle to go to the sign of Pisces or Minai. And that will be our last Mahadasha in the second cycle of Dvishvabhava Rashis. Okay? And then finally we will start our third and the last cycle of Stira Rashis, and then the next Mahadasha in order will be the Mahadasha of Rishika. Then after Rishika we'll jump to the sign of Simcha, and that will be our next Mahadasha. After Mahadasha of Simcha we'll go to the sign of Rishabha, and that will be our next Mahadasha in order. Yeah? And the very last Mahadasha when we'll complete our Mandook Dasha for the Lagna falling in the sign of Karka will be the Mahadasha of Kumbha. Simple, okay? So, let me just clear that picture right now, and we'll be now counting the years for all those Mahadashas, okay? Let me just clear all of that. Just a second, okay? Let us have some patience. Okay, almost there. Okay, and we'll start from the sign of Makara. Yeah, that will be our first Mahadasha. The sign of Makara is here. This is an even sign, so we'll be counting anti-clockwise up to the ruler of the sign, which is Shani. So let's count Makara. 1, Danu. 2, Vrishika, 3, and Tula, 4. So the first Mahadasha of Makara will consist of 4 years. Yeah? Okay? Then we'll jump to the second Mahadasha. Yeah? And the second Mahadasha will be that of Tula. Yeah? And we need to find where's the Lord of Tula. Yeah? So, as we can clearly see, obviously we'll be counting in a direct manner, clockwise manner, because Tula is an odd sign. So we can see that Shukra, the owner of Tula, has gone or has traveled 7 signs away from the sign of Tula which it governs. Yeah? So here this is an exception, yeah, as a reminder. So here, instead of giving 7 years for the Mahadasha of Tula, we will give 10 full years, because this is an exception. Yeah? Whenever we will find the ruler of the sign placed 7 signs or houses away from the sign it rules, then that exception comes true. Yeah? So we'll follow that exception, and instead of giving 7 years, we will give 10 full years. Okay, so we finished with Mahadasha of Tula. So the third Mahadasha in order will be the Mahadasha of Karka. Karka is an even sign. Yeah? So Karka is an even sign, so we'll be counting anti-clockwise up to its ruler. Yeah, let's count. Karka, Mituna, Rishabha, yeah, Mesha, Mina, which is 5, yeah, Danu 6, and Makara 7, yeah. Chandra is here. What do we know about that placement? It is also, yeah, again, exception, because previously we were talking about the Mahadasha of Tula, yeah, and Shukra as the ruler was placed 7 houses away from the sign it rules. Here we've got the same picture. The owner of the sign of Karka, which is Chandra, is placed 7 signs away from the sign it governs. So here our Mahadasha of Karka will consist of 10 years and not of 7, because this is an exception. Okay? And then we go to our last Mahadasha in this first cycle, and that will be the Mahadasha of Mesha. Mesha is an odd sign ruled by, obviously, Mangala or Mars, so we'll be counting clockwise. Let's count. Mesha 1, Vrishabha 2. Yeah, here is our Mars, Mangala. So our Mahadasha of Mesha will consist of only 2 years. Yeah. So this way we've completed the first cycle, yeah, of Chara Rashis. Then what should we do next? Just give me a second. Okay. So we finished our cycle at the sign of Mesha. Then, in order to proceed and continue, we need to find the next sign in trine to Mesha. Yeah, I will remind that we count anti-clockwise. So the next sign in trine to Mesha, in order to start the second cycle, will be obviously that one of Danu. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll start our second cycle. Yeah, so let's start from Danu and count the years for the Mahadasha of Danu. Danu is an odd sign, so we'll be counting clockwise. Okay, so we've got Danu here, which is 1 will be counting to its owner, which is Jupiter or Guru. So Danu 1, Makara 2, and then Kumbha 3. We have found our Guru here. So the Mahadasha of Danu will consist of 3 years. Yeah? Then we'll go to the next Mahadasha, will be the Mahadasha of Kanya, obviously. The ruler of Kanya is Buddha or Mercury. Kanya is an even sign, so we'll be counting anti-clockwise up to its ruler. So let's count Kanya. 1, Simha. 2, then Karka. 3, Mithuna. 4, yeah, Vrishabha. 5, here we've got our Buddha. So the Mahadasha of Kanya will consist of 5 years. After completing the Mahadasha of Kanya, we'll begin the Mahadasha of Mithuna. Yeah? And here the same. The ruler of Mithuna is obviously Buddha or Mercury. But Mithuna is an odd sign, so we'll be counting clockwise. Yeah? So count up to its ruler, which is Buddha. Mithuna 1, Karka 2, then Simha 3, Kanya 4, Tula 5, then Rishika 6, Danu 7, Makara 8, Kumbha 9, Mina 10, Mesha 11, and obviously Rishabha 12. Yeah, so here we've got our Buddha or Mercury, who's gone 12 signs away from the sign of Mithuna, which means that our Mahadasha of Mithuna will consist of 12 years. Yeah? After completing the Mahadasha of Mithuna, we'll obviously jump to Mahadasha of Mina in order to finish our second cycle of Dvishvabhava Rashis. Yeah? Mina is an even sign, so we'll be counting anti-clockwise. So let's count up to its ruler, which is Guru or Jupiter. So Mina 1, then Kumbha 2. Here we've got our Guru or Jupiter. So Mahadasha of Mina will consist of 2 years. Okay, so we've completed our second cycle of Dvishvabhava Rashis. Then we'll have to start our third cycle of Stira Rashis. How to do that? We finished at the sign of Mina. So what do we need to do right now? Obviously, we need to find the next sign in trine to Mina, yeah, to continue with our Mandook Mahadasha order. Yeah, so next sign in trine is obviously Rishika. Yeah, so we'll start our third cycle, yeah, from the sign of Rishika. Okay, and let us count the years. Yeah, the years for Mahadasha of Rishika. Rishika is obviously an even sign, so we'll be counting anti-clockwise. Yeah, so let's count up to its ruler, which is Mars. Here we do not consider Ketu as a co-ruler of Rishika. We just consider only Mars as the ruler of the sign of Rishika or Mangala. Yeah, so let's count anti-clockwise because Rishika is an even sign. Rishika 1, Tula 2, Kanya 3, Simha 4, Karka 5, Mithuna 6, and then Rishabha 7. Here we've got our Mars. So what do we know? What did we talk previously about that particular situation? Yeah, this is another exception. Yeah, we've got the ruler of the sign placed 7 signs or houses or places away from the sign it rules. Here we've got Mangala, the owner of sign of Rishika, placed in Rishabha. So here we won't give 7 years for the Mahadasha of Rishika, because it is an exception. We will just give 10 full years in that circumstances. Okay, so we've completed the Mahadasha of Rishika. Then where should we jump or land? We jump and land in the sign of Simha. Yeah, Simha is an odd sign, so the counting will be direct. So we need to count up to its ruler, which is Sun. So let's count. Yeah, Simha 1, then Kanya 2, then Tula 3, Rishika 4, Danu 5, then Makara 6, Kumbha 7, Mina 8, and Mesha 9. So here we've got our Surya, the ruler of sign of Simha. So our Mahadasha of Simha will consist of 9 years, because Surya, the ruler of the sign, has moved 9 houses away from the sign of Simha, which Surya rules. Okay, so then we've completed the Mahadasha of Simha. The next jump leads us to the sign of, obviously, Rishabha. Rishabha is an even sign, so we'll count anti-clockwise. Yeah? Anti-clockwise up to its ruler, which is Shukra. So let's count Rishabha. 1, then Mesha 2. Here we've got our Shukra. Yeah? So it has moved only 2 signs from the sign of Rishabha. Yeah, we've got our Shukra in the sign of Mesha. So the Mahadasha of Rishabha will consist of 2 years. Okay? And then we'll have to jump to our very last Mahadasha, which is the Mahadasha of Kumbha, in order to complete counting the years for the Lagna falling in the sign of Karka. So Kumbha will be our very last Mahadasha. Yeah? Kumbha is an odd sign, so we'll be counting clockwise up to its ruler. Yeah? Here we do not take into consideration Rahu as its co-ruler of the sign of Kumbha. Yeah? We count up to Shani, who's the ruler of the sign of Kumbha. So we'll be counting clockwise up to Shani. So Kumbha 1, Mina 2, then Mesha 3, then Rishabha 4, then Mithuna 5, Karka 6, Simha 7, Kanya 8, Tula 9. Here we've got our Shani, who has moved 9 signs away from the sign of Kumbha, which he governs. Yes, so our Mahadasha of Kumbha will consist of 9 years. Okay, and this way we have completed, counting all the Mahadasha's years for the Lagna falling in the sign of Karka or Cancer. And then at the end, I do it purposely right now. Yeah, we need to go back to the very beginning. Yeah, and first of all, we need to ask ourselves if that particular Mandook Dasha is at all applicable to that particular horoscope. Yeah, so we need to see if we got at least 4 grahas falling into K.N.Rao houses in that particular horoscope. So let's have a look. Okay, just give me a second. Let's have a look. What we've got in the first house, there is Ketu, but we do not consider Ketu. Yeah, in these circumstances, we exclude Rahu and Ketu, so we need to have at least 4 grahas, yeah, excluding Rahu and Ketu, falling into K.N.Rao houses of this particular horoscope to make sure that Mandook Dasha is applicable to that particular horoscope. So let's move to the 4th house. What we see in the 4th house? In the sign of Tula, there is Shani, yeah, in the 4th. So we've got first Graha here. Then we go to the 7th, yeah. Here we found Chandra, yeah. We've got Chandra in the 7th. So this way we've got right now 2 grahas falling into the K.N.Rao houses of that particular horoscope. Then we need to move to the 10th house, yeah, to the last of K.N.Raos. So what we've got here, we've got obviously Shukra in the sign of Mesha in the 10th house, and also Surya. So this way, as we can see, the condition is fulfilled. We've got 4 grahas other than Rahu and Ketu falling in K.N.Rao houses of that particular horoscope, which are once again, which are Shani in the 4th, yeah, Chandra in the 7th, and Surya and Shukra in the 10th. So we've got 4 grahas falling into K.N.Raos of that particular horoscope. So the condition is fulfilled and Mandook Dasha is applicable to that particular horoscope. So at this point we're going to finish that video. Hope you enjoyed, hope it was helpful, and I will see you in next episodes, yeah, related to our Mandook Dasha. Okay, take care, God bless, and I'll see you soon.